Good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a fantastic day. My name's Cody, and I want to thank you so much for stopping by today. So I'm not sure if you can tell or not, but we had a little bit of snow there last night. I think up to 20 centimeters, or I think that's 8 or 9 inches, depending on what system you use. And it's just beautiful. So first thing to do today is, of course, get the tractor going and get all of this snow moved so that people can come use parking lots and have access to the parks for the dogs as well. So it is a little bit chilly out right now. I think we're at minus 20. Or earlier this morning we were at minus 30 overnight there, so that's fun. But living in this part of the world, we get such wild temperature swings. You know, last week there we were plus 10, and then now we're minus 30. So not uncommon, but that's just the way she goes. Let's have a quick look down this row here. So again, I think I showed you last week, this is where the tulips are going to be. But I think it looks fantastic covered in snow too. Although, truth be told, I'm looking forward to this minus 30 going away for at least a little while. It's nice while it lasts, but you never want to overstay your welcome. So let's get on with the day here. Taking the tractor for a little drive down the county road here to get to our next intersection. Slow and steady. Alright, this knob here allows me to go either forwards or as neutral or backwards. So I've got to control the direction of the tractor with the left hand. And over here, we've got our throttle, which I don't use. I use the foot throttle, which is down there. And then here, I've got the bucket control, so you can kind of see if I pull down, the bucket goes up. If I push forward, the bucket goes down. Pull in left, curls the bucket. Push out right, empties the bucket. And of course I've got a clutch down here as well. So, and then I've got my range, high, low, medium, and low, low. And on this side, we've got the gears, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're rolling there. So there's a few things to keep track of while I'm moving. So hopefully that the footage of me dumping the snow there with one hand turned out okay, but just a little overview here in the tractor. inside now, so all that snow is moved, and that's a good job to get out of the way for today. So now the parking lots are clear. Everyone can come and use it if they need to come for the off-leash park for their dogs, so that's fantastic. Also, you don't really want the snow to build up too much, because otherwise it just gets packed down and it turns into a big sheet of ice, and it's a whole mess there. So always good to get that moved out of the way when we can. The next thing we got to take care of today is get these last cutting boards taken care of. So I've got 2 of them done already. I've got them out of the glue clamps and through the planer, so I have to cut them up into their boards. There's one more over in the clamps that I got to take out, get planed up, and then get these cut down to size. There we go. I've got all the boards cut down to length. I still need to give them a light sand, take care of the sharp edges, and of course seal them with a mineral oil. But for all intents and purposes, they're pretty much done. So a little bit more work left to finish them, but I'm going to leave that here for another day. So I'm going to keep working on a different project. But I think they turned out really quite nice. So what do you think? Here's an up-close look. Look at the grain on that teak there, right in the middle. Isn't that beautiful? Alright, we're back upstairs in the grow room now, and the last thing I gotta get on the go for today is some, I guess, seed starting. So there's a few different types of seeds that I'm doing. These are all going to be trees today. Last year I did some Japanese maples. I don't know if I have any pictures of those or not, but they turned out really, really well. And I'm going to give that another go here. So what I'm going to be working on is starting the stratification process for some more trees here. A bunch of maples, and then there's a brittle cone pine, a Korean boxwood, and other such maples, Japanese maple, Korean maple, those sorts of things. So I'm going to start that process, and basically all that does is it tricks the seed into thinking that it's time to wake up. So a lot of these seeds are hardy down to zone 3, some are zone 4, so you do the stratification, that tricks them into thinking that it's time for them to start growing. All I need to do is put the seeds into a soilless mix there and give them a little squirt of water, pop them in the fridge for from 1 to 6 months depending on the variety, and after that time that they've been properly stratified, I can plant them and hopefully they'll sprout on me. But I'm going to get those all bagged up and put in the fridge here. So very straightforward, just fill up a little bit of soilless mix into your bag. Take your seeds, and away we go. Pop them in there. Now I've got to get my spray bottle. Give it a little bit of moisture. That'll help the seed shell start to break down a little bit. Now when I put these in the fridge, I don't want to seal the bag up completely. I want to make sure that the bag can breathe, otherwise you might start introducing mold and rot and those sorts of things. So a little bit of moisture, you can kind of see it seeping its way down there into the bag. I want to make sure that all the soil is nice and moist, but I don't want any standing water. That feels good. I'll let that sit for a bit and see where that moisture line goes. Okay, there we go. All of the seeds have been put in the bags. I got the spray on in there so they're nice and moist. And another important thing too is to make sure that each bag is labeled. So the variety's mountain maple there needs to be in the fridge for 4 months. And I can start planting on June 20, that should say 21, is when I can plant them. And of course they're all labeled so I don't get confused, which that is an easy thing for me to have happen, so labeling is key. But these guys are going to go in the fridge, and pretty much that's it until we're ready to start planting. Okay, I'm gonna put those seeds in the fridge so that they can start the slow process of waking up there. The next thing that we're gonna get onto in the groom room, or not the groom room, the grow room, is a little bit of an experiment. So I've never grown this before, but I felt inspired. So I'm gonna give it a try and see how it goes. But it's one of my favorite things to have, especially on a cold winter's day. And it is garlic, or gosh, it is ginger. Talking seems to be a bit of a challenge today, but this is in fact ginger, not garlic. Don't listen to me. And I just picked it up at the supermarket there. And from what I've read online and I've seen online, apparently you can grow this stuff quite easily, so I wanted to give it a try. Worst case scenario, I guess, it doesn't do anything and I'm out, you know, a few dollars worth of ginger. But best case scenario, I get a lot of ginger, so that's a really good trade-off for me, absolutely. So I'm going to give it a try. Now, what I did was, I let this soak for probably about 8 hours. So right center screen there, this little guy is a little eye. That is where a stem is going to shoot out of. This morning I looked over all of the ginger that I had and I couldn't find a single eye that looked viable to me anyway. So if you do want to do this, I think it's really important to soak it. It'll help everything just kind of wake up, taking a nice big drink of water before you put it into your prop box, or however you decide to do it. But I'm going to put them in these large chunks into the propagation box, and as they start to develop, I might break them into smaller pieces to get more plants out of them. But I figure, why not just put them there as big as we can? So it's going to be pretty straightforward. All I'm going to do is just put them in the prop box and wait until they start to develop. I've been growing dahlias from tubers for the last couple of years, and I always like to pre-sprout those just because our growing season here is so short. I think we've got like 90, maybe 100 days, but that's always a lie. We're lucky to get like a good 60 days of growing here. So anytime that I can pre-sprout a crop or start early, it's ideal for sure. And I think ginger is going to be one of those crops that getting a head start on is going to be key. And with the experience of pre-sprouting dahlias, it's a lot of great success with those. They're super easy to do, and I figure, well, I hope this will be the same thing. These roots actually remind me a lot of, I don't know if you guys do much gardening, but they remind me a lot of iris rhizomes. They seem to lay flat like an iris does, and yeah, they seem to have a very similar pattern. So it'll be interesting to see how they turn out. One thing to keep in mind though, or I guess for me anyway, for this experiment, is knowing that this is a very tropical plant, right? We don't get ginger growing wild up here in Canada. So making sure that the germination temperature, the sprouting temperature is hot, I think it's going to be a big key for sure. And I imagine humidity is going to play a big role in that as well. So I will just get that in the prop box here. Let's see how she goes. Alright, so these are the same setups that I have for my other propagation boxes. I've got the clay pebbles on the bottom there. That helps to make sure that any water is not sitting, or any plants not sitting in the water, creates that nice barrier. And then we've got the sphagnum moss on top of that, which helps to retain a lot of moisture and gives the plant something to root into. I wasn't able to find anything online as to whether or not ginger needs to be dark in order to germinate or sprout. So I don't know how it's going to go. I'm going to cover them with a layer of moss just to give them a little bit of a dark blanket, I guess, so to speak, to see if that helps or not. So yeah, let's get to it. So I'm just going to take the rhizome here and place it on the moss. There we go. There, and look at this sucker. That's nearly 1 kilogram, which is quite large. See, it's almost as big as my head, which is saying something because I have a ginormous head. I've got lots of stories about that, and my wife will tell you that it's true for sure, but anything that's close to the size of my head is absolutely huge. So let's see how this one turns out. It takes up dang near the half of the whole bin. The other ones don't even take up that much. Might just break this one up into smaller pieces. Oh, and yeah, that smells super good. So there we go. 2 pieces, that'll be good. Next thing is I'm going to take some extra moss here and just sprinkle it over top. I'm going to spray it down just to make sure that everything's evenly moist. I'll put that lid back on to make sure the humidity stays high, and I'll tuck it into a warm, dark place, and we'll keep checking on it to see how it goes. But fingers crossed that this works, because it would be fantastic to be able to grow your own ginger or my own ginger on the prairies up here. That would be phenomenal for sure. So let's get it sprayed up here. There we go. So let's see how this turns out. I'll keep you guys updated, of course, because that's, I guess, basically why I do these videos, so you guys can follow along on my adventures or misadventures, whatever you prefer. There we go, got the ginger all set in the prop box. I can't wait to see how that turns out. And for anyone who's thinking back to that big head comment there, don't worry, it's not me beating up on myself, it's a true fact. I went ice climbing one time. I had to rent a helmet from the outfitter there, and their largest helmet didn't fit on my head. I think I've got a picture somewhere. If I can find it, I'll share it here. But essentially what happened was the biggest helmet kind of sat on top of my head as opposed to encasing it. So definitely have a big head, and that ginger was as big as my head. So it was a huge ginger. I just thought that that was really cool to see. So anywho, don't worry, it's not me beating up on myself. It's just the truth. And if we can't laugh at ourselves, what can we laugh at, right? There we go. Okay, everybody, that's where I'm going to end it for today. So I want to thank everyone so much for watching and hanging out with me again today, and I hope you were able to get some enjoyment or maybe learn something or just enjoy spending some time with me here. So I really do appreciate your company. I hope you have a great rest of your day with whatever it is that you get up to. Until next time, guys, take care. Bye now.